The music provided for this episode of the Tom Retro Chronicle is brought to you by Johnny Gadget with his song called Lies. To check out more PodSafe music, check out dig.ccmixter.org. A 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5. It is the Tom Retro Chronicle with your host called Tom Retro.
Looking good, baby!
Tom Retro is also known as the Retro Guy and has a very interesting angle on things like sports, music, movies, books, and pretty much mostly life. He has a WordPress account, a very funny Twitter account, and overall a very interesting guy. Yeah. And also has very interesting interviews like me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah. So let's head it to our very own very special host called Tom Retro. Oh yeah. Alrighty, welcome to the Tom Retro Chronicle, episode 8 of the many soon-to-be episodes in the future, I hope. This is being taped on a very mostly cloudy day here in Fargo, North Dakota. It's kind of a little brisk out, but it's going to be a lot colder in a few more days. It's going to be at least one more day in the 50s, maybe 60, if we're lucky. But after that, it's going to be all downhill and cold, blustery, brisk. Send shivers down your spine. Did I make a Bohemian Rhapsody reference right there? Oh my goodness, good. God dang it. Man. Alrighty, well, I am now 24 years old, and it definitely does feel good. It feels good to be 24 years old. Be a little bit more one year wiser, 1 year, one more year added to the resume of life, I suppose. So I got a pretty interesting, entertaining show for you all coming up. I have Week 11 recap of the NFL season, which just ended last night with that blowout on Monday Night Football with the Bears and the 49ers. And then next topic is going to be birthday recap of what I did. And so you should definitely be looking forward to that. The third topic I have for you is since Thanksgiving is coming up in a couple days, surprisingly. I guess I'm going to talk about a little bit about some Thanksgiving memories that I have, even though that topic will be probably pretty short. So let's get started with the first topic, which is the NFL season. So Week 11 is already finally done with in the books, and there will be only 6 more weeks of NFL action that's going to happen this way on out. And Week 12 is going to come right at your face with 3 games on Thanksgiving, and the rest will be on Sunday and then Monday. So you basically get at least 3 days of solid football, good football, I suppose. But enough on the. I'll talk a little bit about the Thanksgiving games. I guess I could probably talk about those later on. But taking a look at Week 11, which started on my birthday, which was on the 15th, which was 5 days ago. Goodness gracious. And that game was Miami was going to Buffalo, which which was kind of good, I suppose. But in terms of AFC North or AFC East, I should say. Excuse me. AFC East matchups never usually look that tantalizing on paper unless it's the Patriots, which are usually a pretty good ratings grabber, and then the Jets, which you get like a New York market, at least half a New York market, and the Jets are absolutely terrible this year, and I don't even know why would any person other than the Jets, other than a Jets fan, would absolutely actually watch the Jets on primetime TV. But so that Thursday night game was kind of okay, but the final score in that one was the Bills 19, excuse me, and the Dolphins 14, and basically all the points that Buffalo made in the were in the first half, which was 19. The Bills scored 13 points in the first quarter, and then 6 in the second quarter. So it was basically mostly a crappy game, but in terms of that, it was kind of in terms of that, it was a lot better of a week than last week. There were actually a lot more closer games than there were blowouts. First game I kind of wanted to take a look at was the Green Bay at Detroit game, which of course my Packers were in it, and were looking to get their 5th straight win. And it was a pretty close game. It was one of those games that you were pretty much asking yourself, man, this is like voodoo for both teams. You know, Stafford looked awful. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty good, even though he threw an interception in that game. So, but the real big story in this game wasn't really the Packers or the Lions, but a kicker for the Packers. Mason Crosby, who missed 2 field goals, which were certainly makeable field goals, and certainly field goals that he would have made any day in the season, and he missed 2 of them, and I was like, fire the chump. He was like, goodness gracious, any Joe Schmo would have hit those field goals in pretty good time if he had a pretty good leg, of course. But so I don't know. I think Mike McCarthy should just cut him and just search for a new kicker. But I don't know who else would be out there, but other than Ryan Longwell, who used to be the Vikings kicker before he became the Vikings kicker. So Longwell is definitely a possibility. So enough on that game. There were 3 overtime games, which certainly 2 of them should have been games that the team that did win that game should have lost. And first one is the Cleveland at Dallas game, which I'm not saying the Cowboys really were awful in that game, but they played bad enough to actually should have lost. Tony Romo actually made more completed passes than the attempted passes of Brandon Whedon, the Browns. And certainly the Browns should have won this game. I still certainly believe that. I think the Cowboys played so bad enough that the Browns shot themselves in the foot so many times, like Plaxico Burress in the 2008 season, that the Browns should have won it. And another game I kind of want to mention is the Houston at Jacksonville game, which I thought. I thought the Texans would have won that game by 10, which instead it was won by 6. It was won by 6 in the overtime, which was surprising. I didn't think that Mike Mularkey of the Jaguars would have made Chad Henne, which certainly had a game for the ages. That game, and he basically turned the whole Jaguars sleeping giants of their offense, and basically Chad Henne woke them up, and they almost won that game, which they should have won. Another game that I kind of want to mention. This game didn't get into overtime, but the Falcons, goodness gracious, the Falcons. Matt Ryan had not 1, not 2, certainly not 3, definitely not 4, but 5 interceptions in this game, which was the most for any quarterback who also won the game since Bart Starr in a game against the Bears back in 1967. And that was the last time that a quarterback threw 5 interceptions in a game and still won it. And a little fun fact for you: that was a Bears game, and the Packers won it 13-10. And certainly wasn't the best game for either Bart Starr or Matt Ryan in any sense of the word. I just don't know about the Falcons. They play so good against teams that are good games, but yet they always play awful against awful teams. Like think about the Oakland game. I mean, certainly Matt Ryan threw 3 interceptions in that game, but still the Falcons were shooting themselves in the foot against the Raiders. The Raiders, I say to you, the Raiders. I mean, the Cardinals should have won this game easily, but if the Cardinals weren't such a bad team, the Falcons would have easily lost by 10 points or more. Easily by 10 points. Okay. So another game I guess I could probably talk about is the Jets at the Rams. I said this on my WordPress blog / column that I have a theory for you all to think about. And the theory is this: if the Jets play a great team, like say New England or Seattle, let's say that, but let's say that the Jets lose that game by a lot of points, and when they play a mediocre team or a bad team, the Jets always win. I understand that. but yet it sounds so simple that this team that has quite a bit of talent uh, fails to be uh, winning, winning football games. And the Jets are 4-6 right now, and which they should have easily have more losses than wins. Seriously. For the Rams, the Rams are a work in progress, just to be honest with you. Another game I kind of want to mention before I get into talk about the Thanksgiving games is the Washington Philadelphia game. RG3, I certainly thought RG3 would be one of the best rookie quarterbacks that would have a field day, and he had a field day against the Eagles' defense, which certainly isn't a hard task to do, but yet RG3 4 for 15 for 200 yards and a whole lot of touchdowns. Goodness gracious. That was absolutely amazing. He also had a perfect minimum quarterback rating, which was 158.3, which is the highest that you can get as a quarterback in the National Football League. Of course, there is a system in the ESPN called Total QBR, which I'd rather call it QBR, which pretty much makes more sense than the passer rating, because the passer rating isn't exactly the most best way of measuring a quarterback's performance in a game, but the QBR rating is pretty good too. So anyway, RG3 was perfect. No sense in any sense of the word. He was absolutely perfect. He also had 12 rushes for 84 yards. Good Lord. Lord Almighty. Lord Almighty, he's good. In terms of when you really think about it, the Redskins' expectations so far this season they're actually doing pretty good. I mean they're 4-6, but you know what? Washington has better chances of RG3 winning the game than any other starting quarterback that has played for them in easily the last 20 years. Easily the last 20 years. Rex Grossman, Donovan McNabb, Rex Grossman, trying to think of who else who started. Jason Campbell. Any of those quarterbacks are inferior when it comes to Robert Griffin III. So taking a look, thinking about it, I'm not going to do picks yet so far for Week 12. I'll be doing those on Thursday. But when you really think about the Thanksgiving games, which are 3 games, and you saw the CBS game, which is the Houston Texans go up against the Lions, and then you have on Fox, you have the Washington Redskins going to Dallas in a rivalry game. And then on NBC, you have New England traveling to New York to take on the Jets. So, in terms of the Thanksgiving slate, this actually looks kind of good on paper, but I'm not saying that's going to be great. But, usually Thanksgiving games have haven't lived up to their tasty billing, so to speak. Usually, somehow or another, the NFL always picks really great teams against the Lions. When you really think about it, 2 years ago, the Patriots went into Ford Field to take on the Lions, and the Patriots absolutely crushed them. Last year, the Lions played against the Packers, which was kind of a good game, and then the Packers absolutely crushed the Lions in that one. And then you have the Texans at Detroit, and it's usually a different case with the Cowboys, which the Cowboys usually get an inferior opponent. Trying to think about 2 years ago, the Cowboys played against the Saints, and I think the Cowboys won that game. I think, but I could be wrong on that one. Then last year they played against the Raiders, which was a pretty awful game if I remember it. Usually any game that involves the Raiders usually is a bad game. And then this year is the Redskins, which could be a pretty good game. I'm not saying that the Redskins are an inferior team. I'm just pointing out a fact that somehow or another the NFL always picks great opponents and against the Lions, and then inferior opponents against the Cowboys. And then the third game, which is on Thanksgiving night, which actually looks kind of good, but yeah, that kind of looks pretty bad on paper. Which for the first time in since the NFL started doing Thanksgiving night games, this game is actually on NBC, which most people will actually see because it's on a cable channel. Basically on a local channel, but most people don't. Most people do have cable, which you can see basically most of the games on NFL Network. But really, when you really think about it, the poor people don't really have NFL Network. So this game actually works out for both the NFL and the consumer that doesn't have the NFL Network. So this game is on NBC, and it pits Tom Brady and the Patriots against Rex Ryan and the Jets. And this one could go either way as well. So when you really think about it, my take on the Thanksgiving games is, I don't know. I don't mind the tradition. I kind of like the tradition of having Thanksgiving games, being at Detroit and Dallas. But I don't know. I kind of want to see new teams host Thanksgiving games. I'm tired of the Lions and the Cowboys hosting Thanksgiving games. I want to see the Packers host a Thanksgiving game. I want to see the Giants host a Thanksgiving game. I want to see the Redskins host a Thanksgiving game. I want to see the Patriots host a Thanksgiving game at home. I want to see the Chiefs host a Thanksgiving game at home. Because when you really think about it, Thanksgiving is, giving thanks throughout the whole entire country, and I think it would be pretty cool to see other teams host Thanksgiving games. It would be great, but I'm fine with the tradition. I'm just saying, if you want to make it better, make it better. You know, you know what I mean. So anyway, in terms of this topic, I'm pretty much done with it. So on to the next topic. So yes, I did have a pretty good birthday. It started out when I woke up, had a shower, then did episode 7 of the podcast, and then uploaded it for you all to hear and listen to. And then I had lunch with the mother, who ended up giving me the presents, even though I thought we were going to probably plan on doing that towards on that Friday, but she ended up having a pretty bad cold. So that was kind of pretty sad to hear about, but she's doing fine right now, but I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, I didn't end up going. I didn't go to my high school, which, when you really think about it, I thought it was gonna be a good idea at the time, but when you really think about it, the security at that high school is kind of pretty tight. So, and when you really think about trying to get a pass, like visitor's pass, it's a pretty long process to get one of those. So I didn't end up going. I didn't go to my high school, which would have been pretty cool to see, but oh well. Oh well. But other than that, my birthday plan ended up pretty good. There were no changes to it, so I pretty much ended up spending that Friday or Thursday afternoon at my alma mater at MSUM. I ended up going to an art gallery, and visiting art, seeing art from my colleagues, students, which was pretty cool. We do have a pretty good art department, so if you're an art student in high school that's gonna be graduating pretty soon, definitely check out MSUM out. So we have a pretty good art department, but our bread and butter is our bread and butter is our school of teaching, which was basically the major that our university was actually founded on. It used to be a teachers' college back in the 1880s, when it was founded in 1887. Let's see, what else did I do? Walked around the bookstore. I didn't buy anything like that. I had a cup of coffee. It was a Caribou coffee, which was kind of good, but it wasn't the greatest tasting coffee ever. But I've never actually had a Starbucks coffee. Hopefully I'll get a Starbucks coffee pretty soon. So let's see, what else did I do? Let's see, what else did I do? I actually got to see a couple of familiar faces, especially saw an old professor of mine, a great professor in philosophy. He's a philosophy slash world religions. He has classes of world religions classes and humanities courses as well. But he's pretty cool. I mean, he's a little weird, but you know what? I'd rather have a weird teacher than someone that's pretty strict. So, trying to think who else. Saw a couple of familiar faces and students. Um, Trying to think of where else did I go to, but I think that was pretty much it. Then I went back to my apartment for a couple hours, hung out a little bit, and then I went to Buffalo Wild Wings or B-Dubs in Moorhead, and then had a couple of beers and watched football with a couple of friends of mine, and then I went back to my old dorm or residence hall. And it was pretty good. Spent a couple hours watching my friend of mine play video games, and it was pretty fun. And then after that, I spent about a good 2 hours of my time thanking people on my Facebook, thanking them for the birthday wishes. So it was pretty much overall a good. It was an overall good birthday. I am definitely looking forward to next year's, which will be on a Friday, and I will be turning 25 years old, quarter of a century old. Could be interesting. So now I can finally audition for the show 24. Now that I am 24. Mwahaha. Okay, so on to the next topic will be, which should be the most shortest topic of this episode, which is Thanksgiving memories. So here we go. So Thanksgiving is coming up on Thursday, which is usually quite an interesting, day. When you really think about it, Thanksgiving is usually two things for me. Eating turkey and then watching football. I mean, there's nothing better than eating a little bit of some turkey while watching some football. So, but anyway, in terms of the meal itself, I don't usually eat the stuffing. I don't usually eat the stuffing, but I do have a lot of turkey. I usually eat. Have the potatoes. I usually have the. Trying to think what else. I usually have the pickles. Have pickles. Usually at my family's Thanksgiving. Thanksgivings. When it used to be when I was a kid, I usually Thanksgiving usually was traveling to going to the river. Going up the river and through the woods to grandmother's house. We go. No offense to the story, but usually there was a football game on, and I usually watched that game, and then I watched that game, and then usually towards 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was pretty much eating time. The best part of that meal was the Jello, to me. But then again, the turkey was always good. Let's see what else. But once my grandmother died in 2004, it was pretty much more of a at home kind of meal, which when you really think about it, Thanksgiving is kind of it's a meal where basically everyone in your family comes around and becomes thankful for what they have, be thankful for what their health is, what they thankful for their life, their hospitality, and so forth. So, what I'll be thankful for is I'll be thankful for my health. I'll be thankful for my well-being. I'll be thankful for the life that life has given me so far. Thankful for the things that I have in my possession. Thank you so much. Um, so, so I don't know what else to say about Thanksgiving in terms of memories. This was kind of more of a short topic, but in terms of next week, next week's podcast is going to be just about week 12 picks. Maybe I might insert a mini topic there, but check out for a new episode of the Tom Retro Chronicle, episode 9, in pretty soon. So I will see you all on Thursday for Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I will see you all later.